just wanted to do a little bit of a video today about why I got into training in the first place, because I'm not sure if I ever really put it on the page before. So before I had children, I was a bit of an infrequent gym goer. I went because I felt I had to. I enjoyed it, but it was not a consistent thing. I perhaps trained once or twice a week, but not all the time. I then go to the pub, have a few drinks, eat a load of junk. So really there wasn't much point me going in the first place, but it made me feel good, and it was okay. I wasn't seeing any progress or anything, but it wasn't an important part of life for me. After I had my son, I put on a lot of weight. During my pregnancy, I decided to indulge quite a lot because it was long awaited, and I felt like it really. So I would quite happily munch through a massive tub of my mother-in-law's amazing cheese scones. I'd eat pizzas, Mars bars, not even one a day, sometimes a couple. I would also hide in the cupboard, believe it or not, and I had a box of After Eights in a jacket pocket under the stairs, and I'd eat those. And needless to say, after 9 months of doing that, I'd put on a lot of weight. So I was 4 stone heavier after I had my son, and I have to say I felt like shit. I had no confidence, nothing fitted. I felt unhealthy, I felt heavy, but I had also had a really bad birth experience with him, which left me feeling not how I imagined motherhood to be. So while I was pregnant, I had visions of home birth and hypnobirthing, and it being this really amazing experience where I'd bond with him straight afterwards and be totally in love, and mothering would come naturally, having wanted it for such a long time. But that just didn't happen. I felt really disconnected. I wouldn't wake up at night when I needed to feed. I really struggled every day. My husband went back to work fairly quickly, and I would often sit at home and cry a lot. And I also used to write down what I needed to do in the day, because otherwise I would panic and not know what I was up to. So I had a list from kind of 7 o'clock, feed baby, change baby, bath baby, literally all the way to bedtime again. It was mechanical. There was nothing natural about it for me. And accompanying that was a massive sense of guilt, because I'd imagined it to be really romantic and how birth and parenthood is portrayed, and for me it just wasn't like that. So my mum bought me a gym membership, and after Christmas, he was born in October, after Christmas I went to the gym every morning just to get out of the house, because I was going utterly nuts. I was so miserable. They had a crash there, so I'd go to the gym and I'd do a couple of classes, and it was just enough that it broke up my day, and I had contact with other adults. Also trying to lose the weight was making me feel a little bit better. I'm sure there's lots of women out there that can relate to the story, and I used exercise to pick myself up, make myself feel better. I was also getting married, and wanted to make sure I looked my best for that, and that was 20 months later. So for every day for 20 months I went and I trained, and I used exercise to pick myself up. After that I had my daughter, and thankfully it was a totally different experience. I learned the first time that I shouldn't be eating a load of junk just because I was pregnant. I kept a really good, healthy, balanced diet through my whole pregnancy. I trained all the way through. I ran until I was 33 weeks, and I was just listening to my body, which is really important if you're training while you're pregnant. Absolutely go and train if you've already been training. Do what you normally do, but listen to your body and bring it down a gear or two if you need to. But there's no reason to be totally inactive, and actually it will give you a better birth experience if you're stronger and fitter and healthy. You imagine you wouldn't go run a marathon without training for it, and it's the same with labour and birth. So after that, I had my daughter. I wasn't as overweight as I was the first time. I only had a couple of stone to lose, which came off much more easily. After that, I had decided to run a fun run for SANS stillbirth charity, and it was that inspired me to retrain as a personal trainer. Before I was a customer services manager for a courier company, so completely different. Other than the experience I'd had in losing weight myself and using exercise to overcome postnatal depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, confidence, and all of those things obviously have a knock-on effect to your relationship, which again is something that changes after you have children. I don't think it's ever quite the same as it is before kids, and that can be really difficult for partners to get their heads around too. So not only are you trying to adapt to not having your career perhaps that you had before, but your relationships change, your bodies change, your minds change, your priorities change. You don't come first anymore, and it's difficult to put yourself first when you've got this guilt of being a mother and having to do all of the things that you need to do for your child. But it's really important to take some time for yourself and give yourself good health and be fit and work on your happiness and your self-development and your confidence and your relationship, because ultimately when your children are growing up and they're not babies, we're role models and they're going to see us. And I know personally I want my children to understand relationships and understand how to have a healthy relationship with someone else as well as yourself. And that sometimes means that you need to stop being guilty about taking some time out for yourself and go for a run, go and do a class, go for a walk on your own, but just take some time out for yourself. Nourish your body with good food. So I digress a little bit, but I organised with some friends a fun run for the SANS Stillbirth charity, in which we raised just under £9,000, which was amazing. Half of it went to research and half of it went to a local SANS charity to support families affected with stillbirth. And also to the Hope Butler Suite at Pembrey Hospital, which is for families when they're having a stillborn baby or a baby that has died shortly after birth. And it's really important that they have that, which is fantastic we were able to help. So that was my inspiration for becoming a personal trainer, and I think it's really easy to get lost in our careers and training and nutrition, and I found that actually I'd slightly forgotten what I got into it in the first place, and it wasn't actually to make people thinner. It was actually because I wanted to help other women like me to feel better about themselves and to try and overcome the guilt that you have as a parent, to build their self-confidence, to build their self-esteem, to enable them to go and have a better relationship with their partner. The fact that I can help people lose weight and be healthy is a massive side effect from that, but actually it was because I wanted to help other women like myself. So I haven't really ever talked about that before, but I'm going to be making a lot more focus with personal training, which is going to be more online based in the future, so I can help more women. But yeah, the focus, happiness, confidence, loving yourself, having a good balance between being a mum and finding yourself again. And it's important that you are still you outside of being a mum and a partner or a girlfriend or a wife. So there you go, a little chat for you today. I hope we don't have rabbited on too much. I'll post some pictures in the comments below because I'm not technically minded enough to be able to merge them onto this video, but just so you can see where I've come from and where you obviously can see where I am today from posts that I put up. But it's absolutely possible to feel like you again, and to be happy and have a great relationship. I'm lucky enough to have a really fantastic husband, but we both work at that relationship together, and it's not just about the children 100% of the time. So anyway, I'm digressing again. There you go, video done for today. Get in touch if you've got any comments, or share the video if you think it will help any of your friends or family that have just had children, whether they're new babies or 4 years old, because often women come to me whose children are 4, 5, 6, even older, that have never quite got themselves back. So hopefully this is proof that you can be really happy again and feel yourself, and you don't have to have the guilt associated with not things quite going how you planned, or feeling